Alright, I made an omelet, and that omelet looked something like. Oh, that's the wrong one. That omelet looked something like this. And today I'm going to show you how to make an omelet. So the first thing you do, the first thing you do is you prepare all of your things. Actually, that's not true. I kind of prepared part of it along the way. Okay, we're going to forget the preparing steps. We're just going to talk about what I did because that's easier to comprehend. So first, I had a bunch of paper towels. I know you don't really need paper towels to make an omelet, but I kind of, just for today, because things were kind of, there's some cleaning that I gotta do, but you know that's not the point. So there was so there's the stuff that you need to put on the omelet, but the way that you put things on the omelet, why shouldn't I do that by hand? Okay. Should I just do a retake? No, I'm already too far in. Okay, so you get a spatula, like one of those spatulas that are like, it's like whoosh, and it's like whoosh, whoosh. That's a spatula. And then there's another one that I have, and it's like something about these don't look right. It's a spatula though, okay. Also a knife for butter. That's a knife, okay. This does not look good. Alright, it's fine. And then I had a bowl. How are we gonna, okay. A bowl. And 3 eggs. 1, 2, 3. Also, there's also tin foil. And on that tin foil, what's a good color for it? On that tin foil is, what color is prosciutto? Prosciutto, whatever it's called. Brown? Red? Probably like somewhere in between. Orange? No, definitely not that. That looks good. Alright. So, we got some prosciutto. Actually, first, here. Alright, this is gonna be the starting prosciutto. Okay, so first thing we did was we had a piece of prosciutto, whatever it's called. Alright. And we tore it apart into multiple pieces. And then after we tore it into multiple pieces, then those go onto the aluminum foil. Okay. And then, because if you put it on the aluminum foil and then cook it. Okay, hold on, my laptop is trying to take over the ASMR. I mean, alright, it doesn't matter. Okay, so anyways, so if you try to cook like a and there's also the fat part on it. Yeah, that's good enough. Alright, so if you just, one time I tried throwing it on the aluminum foil and cooking it whole, but that didn't really go very well, because it didn't really get crispy or anything. And then I thought, oh, maybe it'll be easier to tear the fat off, and it wasn't. It was actually more difficult. So, breaking it apart, and then laying it on the aluminum foil, and like pressing it down a little bit, and then throwing it in your cooking device, makes it cook better, and it gets crispy, at 350 for 5 minutes. And then what I did after throwing that in the cooking device was these 3 eggs. I broke those 3 eggs and put them in here. Okay, and then after that, I took one of the yolks, just one of them, and threw it out. Imagine, here's the trash can. This is a trash can. It may not look like one, but it's a trash can, believe me. I would know, I drew it just now. Okay, so now you have 2 yolks and 3 egg whites. And you can also scoop out the things attached to the other 2 yolks. You can use a fork and kind of stab them and then throw them in the trash too if you want. Okay, and so then after getting rid of that, then you can take milk. I was gonna draw a carton, but it doesn't really. What does milk look like? That looks like a slushie. Milk. M for milk. I was gonna write milk downwards, but that didn't really. Alright, that's milk though, okay. So it's not look good. Alright. So you take your milk and then you put it in the egg. Well, first you like beat the egg a little bit, and then you pour the milk in. And you want to pour enough milk until it gets to like. So imagine the color of eggs, right? It's like this orange substance. There's like this orange, and now imagine like white, right? Now imagine these two combining and to form a yellow. So imagine you're like making a hollow purple with like the egg and the milk. And you don't want to, you're not adding 50-50 of, like, it's not 50% egg, 50% milk. That would be way too much milk. You want like just enough milk until it changes the color of the egg into like a creamy yellow orange, but probably more yellow than orange. But you want it to look like a creamy color. Like, you don't want it to look like pea yellow or pea orange. Although, I don't think there's a... Well, if someone's peeing orange, that's their own problem. They should probably see a doctor. But, anyways. So, once you have the egg, right? Then you go to your pan. And that pan, you throw some salted butter on. So imagine there's like this much butter. You can cut it like, say like there, and then go and just throw it in that pan, and then you, oh actually also you turn on the heat before doing the eggs, maybe even before the this thing. But so anyways, once you get the butter in, pans should already be hot, and then you like swirl it around, and it goes like you can throw it in the middle or on the end, and you just and you just spiral it all in there. And after that, then you give your bowl of eggy, milky substance, although not very milky. See, something about adding milk is that it makes the eggs stick to each other. Like, it makes the egg stick to the egg less. Like, it takes away some of the viscosity and cohesive properties of the egg, because the egg's viscosity is naturally gonna bring itself towards the other egg, and that's why when you beat an egg without anything else in it, it's more likely to stay in the bowl. But if you add milk, then because of the added milk, it's more likely to splash a little bit outside. So be careful of that. So once you have that, and you put the butter in the pan, then you can give it one last mix, and then you, well, that's wrong. Then you, and you throw that in there into the pan. Well, you don't actually throw it. That might break the bowl, and it wouldn't really accomplish what you want if you literally throw it. But you can pour it into the center, and it should spread out pretty evenly. And after that, then you start preparing the other ingredients. And the ones that I prepared, and this is what this thing came for. So there's a bag. Of spinach. Actually, this looks pretty bad. a little baggie of spinach. No, that is not illicit substances. It is merely a bag of spinach. Okay. So you can use the knife for that butter, and you're also going to use the knife for tomatoes. And I had 4 of them, and I cut each of the 4 in half. We'll get to the placement of it later along. But so anyways, so you prepare that, and then okay. So next up is after you prepare that, then you kind of just look at the egg you have in the pan, and it's probably gonna look something like this. Okay, but so when you're cooking an omelet, something you'll notice is that there'll be some of the orangey part of the egg, and that part is gonna be the part that is gonna take a little bit longer to cook. And what that basically means is that it's gonna stay a little bit more liquidy wherever there's that orangey part, because that's the yolk. And so what you want to do is you want to grab your spatula. Well, you can first take what I do is I take the smaller spatula and I kind of jab it around the ends to kind of like loosen up the omelet and make sure it's not sticking to the pan. And then afterwards, I take the larger spatula, and then I go for a flip. And then you kind of like wiggle the, like imagine you got a pan, right? Like imagine this is the pan, okay? And the egg is like down here. You kind of want to like tilt the pan like forward so that you're seeing it like, how do I even draw this? Right, and it's like, oh, this is gonna be, alright, so imagine you're like tilting the pan forward and it's like moving the pan to the edge, and then you're able to, from there, you're able to use the spatula and you're able to go under the egg that way. And then you kind of like wiggle the spatula side to side. So like a way to know that you're kind of like getting there is when the egg is like, it's like here, maybe not off the pan, but it's like around like there. And the spatula is like under the egg, and it's like but it's like under the egg. And then you like wiggle it side to side and push forward. And then you like tilt the pan backwards. Not that way. Not that way either. Like this way. And then you like get it onto the spatula, and then you just flip it sideways. And then that leaves you with it looking kind of like, leaves you looking kind of like, I'll use this for the differentiation. Like there's like a few burn marks. I just realized that looks like a face that's like, it's like a face that's like mewing or something. That was not intended. I'm so sorry. Let me get rid of that. You know, we don't need to show burn marks anyway. It's fine. Okay, what I did next is I took out the cheese. I used triple cheddar, and you kind of just throw it on half of it, right? And then you throw it on half of it, and then you take your prosciutto, whatever it's called, out of the cooking device, and then you throw that on there too. Although you don't just throw it on, you like when, as you're putting on, you like crumble with your fingers, because it's like crunchy now and it like crumbles, so you can like get that like everywhere. Okay, and then you take your spinach and then you like rip it apart and you put that on there too. And then the tomato, what I do with it, since I have 8, I'll like put the two, I start them in the middle, and then I go like diagonal, so then there's like space for all of them. If you can't tell, that's 8 tomatoes. I think you guys can tell though. Alright, and then you can take either one of your spatulas, and then and that's where you get it to, where's my mouse? There it is. That's where you get it to fold. I think I used the gray one. Okay. And now the mistake I made here was that I folded it way too close to the, like I folded it like, so you really couldn't see anything inside of it. And the problem with that is moving it to the plate. Because usually if you fold it, but you have more space for it to go, you can like kind of roll it onto the plate. But because of the way it was, since it was like perfectly placed on top, if you moved it at all, then it's gonna obviously move. So when I put it onto the plate, it was like over the side. Like this is the plate. The omelet's like, it was like that. Like imagine this line is like the bottom part, and this top line, or this line is like the top part. Like the top part was over. It was like the omelet had like an overbite. And that's not good, because then stuff might fall out. But luckily for me, because of the way I prepared the omelet, all this stuff, aside from the tomato, well, some of the tomato, it all basically stuck to the cheese, because it was like melty and like combined into one powerful force. Like the power of friendship kind of omelet, you know? And, but so it stayed together. But, yeah. So then afterwards, I kind of just, pushed it back to normal. Oh, that's not right. Alright, but then I kind of like just pushed the things back to their places, and then I had my omelet. And that's how I made an omelet. If you want a review of the omelet, then I will leave a link to the stream in the description of reviewing the omelet. And thank you for watching. See ya.